Reality Check, Dr. Silkman, Justin Denny, and Big Jeff. Uh, you guys have anything to say before we start off?
Excited that we've already got a response back from the state. It means we're moving forward, at least on this motion.
Yeah, it's too bad we won't be able to see it until Monday, but I think everybody's looking forward to reading it. I expect it to be pretty diminutive and pretty dismissive, would be my guess about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we've already gone over pretty much every interview that we have for this day. This would be the last one for the 9th. This is after they've already talked to everybody else, because they took everybody to the hospital. Dolores states, Steven says that he's seen her going into the hospital when he was being taken to the Rivers Police Department. And based on what they're asking him, they had talked to everybody else. Barb, Bobby, Chuck. Chuck didn't really say much. He told him I already said what I saw when I talked to and Marinette, because it's the same officer that's interviewing him, Skorlinski and O'Neill.
So Alan wasn't interviewed and Mom wasn't interviewed.
Alan was interviewed later after this, just like Brian Dassey. He was interviewed on the 10th, which we'll be going after next. And that's when they...
Brendan was not interviewed.
No. We don't have Blaine's interview anywhere, because he's a minor. But without further ado, we'll get into this interview. Fast for a little bit.
I'm not sure. Shouldn't be much longer, though. Shouldn't be much longer. I would think by the end of today it'll be ready. What car was it again? Grand Am. That would be my guess. Those guys work pretty fast.
Are they able to be delivered by Earl?
I'm sorry? By
By
Earl's or where you want it?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. That shouldn't be a problem. Like we talked about the Miranda, remember that again? You said you still want to talk with us, you said?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what were we talking about before?
Keep my pen.
Oh, geez, probably. I'm always stealing those things on you.
I may be taking a few notes, okay, but we certainly want to address the weapon thing. That's what the calendar is for.
So there was a 22 in the house?
Yeah.
Okay. And whose was that?
Rolly Johnson.
Rolly Johnson?
Yeah.
Where was that kept?
Hanging up in my bedroom.
Hanging up in your bedroom. How long did you live there, Steve?
I don't know.
Well, have you lived there since, for a year, 2 years, 3 years?
Probably over a year.
Probably over a year? Okay. Prior to that, where were you living?
In a shack.
In the ice shack? Okay. Who are you living with there now?
By myself.
By yourself? What about your girlfriend?
My girlfriend's in county jail.
Okay. Prior to that, was she living with you?
Yeah.
Okay. I got it. So a little over a year, around a year you've been living there.
Probably somewhere, I don't know.
And the 22 is
Rolly
Rolly Johnson's. He just forgot it there, just left it there, or what?
Well, he's got a lot of stuff there.
There's a lot of stuff there. Okay. Have you ever been out shooting it, just target practicing or anything?
No.
No.
This case.
What about any other shooting?
Yeah,
So
the
why not?
A common misconception on this case is that that was Steven's trailer and the lease was out in Steven's name. Jody leased the place from Rowley, not the other way around, right? So this is Jody's lease, and Steven's living with Jody in that place, surprisingly, because it's the Avery salvage yard, not the other way around. He was living in the ice shanty. Jody rented the place out from Rowley. They met each other and kind of hit it off, and Steven eventually moved in with her, into her place.
Who owned the property before this, Millbilly? Before the Averys, who owned it?
According to what I've found, the Yonda family.
Okay.
Don't know if it's related to Tom Yonda or not, but yeah.
Earl, when he said you guys on Friday were doing a little target practice sighting in a gun for.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
He was?
Yeah.
He had mentioned that you had been shooting it too?
No.
No?
No, he was different.
Okay, what were you guys shooting at?
Second card out there.
Captain Cards?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of gun was that?
36, I think.
30 on 6. We sighted it in for deer hunting or something? Okay, it's coming up pretty soon. Yeah. Doesn't seem like it was as warm as it's been, I tell you.
Yeah,
So that was Friday you guys were sighting it in?
yeah.
Okay.
What time of day was that on Friday?
Sometime in the afternoon.
Afternoon, after
After
lunch?
12 o'clock, yeah.
Okay. Where were you doing that? Like by the house or down in the junkyard, or where were you sighting it in?
Down by the crush cars.
Down by the crushed cars? What were you shooting at?
It was shooting at a door and no hole.
Did you hit it?
Yeah, he hit it.
You did? Wow, that's pretty good. How far away were you?
I don't know, 50 yards maybe.
50 yards?
Probably somewhere, I don't know.
That's pretty good. So explain, I'm not sure, I was only down in the junkyard once. Where exactly are the crushed cars?
They're behind Chucky down the road.
Behind Chucky down the road. That road goes behind,
Down in the pit.
goes down the pit. And so the road goes like this.
Yeah.
And where are the crushed cars? And here's Chuck's place,
When the crush cars are right below the hill.
right below the hill.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a crusher there too?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were shooting from where at the crushed cars?
Earl parked a truck, someplace in here,
Uh-huh.
up by the front road in cars, and we're shooting down.
Shoot that way. There's a bunch of crushed cars down there, I see that.
Yeah.
Where did those come from? Did you crush those or who crushed those?
Well, me and Earl crushed some, and then he crushed some, and there's still some on top to be crushed, yeah.
Okay. Do you guys normally crush your own cars or does somebody usually crush them?
Probably knows.
Norm does? How come you decided to crush them this time yourself?
Well, you left the crusher there.
Oh, okay.
He said, if we want to use it, we can use it.
So you just, is there a key in that thing or something?
Yeah,
Okay. So you just, he doesn't mind if you use it?
no.
Okay. I noticed the one time I was down there that there was a car in there, in the crusher. A blue car.
Yeah.
Who crushed that one?
I did.
You did? When did you crush that one?
I don't remember.
Like last week or something, or
Um,
today's Wednesday? Did you crush it yesterday? No, obviously not. Or if you couldn't crush it on Saturday, right? So let's think about before Saturday. You went up north when did you go to leave to go north?
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning, about what time?
A little after 6, someplace in there.
Okay. Did you drive up there?
Yeah.
Okay. Who went with you?
My mom
Your
and
mom?
Brian.
Did they all ride with you, or
Yeah.
in which car did you drive up
My
there?
granddad.
Okay. How'd your truck get up there, that flatbed?
Chucky brought that up Friday night.
So Chucky was there all day Friday, and he came up Friday night,
Yeah.
and you came up Saturday morning? Okay. All right. So,
So how many times do you need this story now?
I
I
haven't,
told it 100 times already.
I know, I haven't heard it though, Steve, you know.
I wonder
I'm
why.
trying to be as fair as I can. It's only,
I'm getting sick of saying it all.
I know, but it's only fair if I know it from you, because if I go off and other people are saying, you know, that's not a good thing. Okay, so I need to, I'd rather know it, because let's say somebody else tells me something and they screw a little bit of the story up, that's not fair to you. Okay, so I want to hear it from you, so I know exactly what happened. You know how the old game telephone works?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want that to happen, you know, so I want to hear directly from you, okay, just so I know. So on Friday, Saturday morning you went north, so let's go back to Friday. Did you crush that car on Friday?
No,
Okay, how about Thursday?
I don't remember what day it was.
Okay, was it last week? It doesn't look like it was in there real long, but,
No, it wasn't there that long.
okay,
It could have been the week before, it could be that week. I don't
Okay.
remember.
okay. Remember what kind of car it was in there?
I don't remember that here.
No.
I know it's blue.
Okay, do you usually leave them in there after you crush them, or do you usually take them out, or?
No, mostly take them out.
Take them out. Okay.
But I don't know, down the day I was in a hurry and I took it down there and I just pushed the crusher down and I took off.
Okay,
Went back up.
all right,
Because there was only one car in the garage and I didn't want it being in the garage, so I took it down there.
okay. And you don't know what day it was?
I don't remember what day.
Okay. Well, let's go back to last week a little bit, okay? Let's go back to Monday of last week, okay? This girl from the auto trader,
Yeah.
she had come out to take some pictures of the car or your sister's van, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start early that morning. What happens early that morning? What time do you get up that Monday?
Between 6:30.
6 and 6:30? Okay. And what do you do when you get up?
Take a shower, get dressed. Then by 7:30 and something, or somewhere in there, then I go.
You go
By
up?
Mom.
You go up by mom? Okay. What do you do by mom?
I said I've kept it a while and.
Do you have breakfast?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do have a drink of soda.
Okay.
I
So,
started at 8 o'clock and
okay.
I went to 11, then went home.
So you started at 8 in the morning, you worked till 11, okay, and then you did what?
I went home.
Okay.
I did a couple of phone calls. I talked to my fiance's lawyer and that.
Okay.
Talked to him, I think, once or twice.
Once or twice, okay. From your cell phone or from your regular phone or?
My cell phone.
Cell phone. You use your cell phone a lot?
Yeah, I think so.
I know, I do all the time and my bills are just horrendous some days, you know. Yours probably are too, I mean, especially in the business and stuff, I would think,
Well, it mostly don't call me on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Mostly Chucky and Earl's, you know.
okay. You guys got a group plan or something, or no? You each have your own
What's on one account?
account? That's for the business or something, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you went up there at 11 o'clock and you made some phone calls, you said, to your girlfriend's attorney. Who else did you call?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you call anybody early that morning? Like before you went to work or in there sometime, or?
I called auto trader.
Called Auto Trader that morning?
I said it's the appointment.
Okay. What time did you call?
I was around, I don't know, 8:30.
8:30. Did you call from your house or?
No, I'll call for myself.
Oh, from while you were down at work or whatever? Okay. You set up the appointment for somebody to come out?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did they tell you that somebody would come out with?
She told me, she don't know if she got her information already. It might be this Monday or next Monday.
Okay. Who did you call? Remember?
Auto trader,
I mean, the office, or did you call the photographer?
the office.
Office. Okay. So they said it might be this Monday or the next Monday?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So then,
What did you,
I
did
think
you
I-
tell them it was Steve calling, that you're gonna, you got a car to sell or a truck to sell, or what?
Tell me Barbara's name, I'll put her in Barbara's name.
Okay. Very good.
Barbara's vehicle.
And Barbara's your sister?
Yeah.
And what's her last name again? John?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay. So you call her about 8 o'clock?
Yeah, 8:30.
8:30. And then you do what? You just go back to work or?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was only took a second. And then I called, I don't know, another time. And she told me that she was coming.
Who did you call? You called somebody else?
Out of trainer.
You called Auto Trader? Another time? What time was that?
I don't remember.
Would that have been like after the first call? So like an hour after, 2 hours after?
It could be after I got home.
Okay, after you got home from, after 11 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, you said that you got home at 11 o'clock and you called your girlfriend's attorney a couple times?
I did that probably, I don't know what that was, sometime in there.
Well, let's think about the second time you called Auto Trader. Was that, you think it was when you got home after 11?
I think so.
That's what you think?
I think so. I'm sure, but.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I understand. What did they tell you the second time you called?
That she was coming out.
She was coming home. Okay. All right.
Because I think I tried to call her on her cell phone, and she didn't answer it.
Okay. You tried calling her on her cell phone.
Yeah.
Where'd you get her cell phone number from?
From out of here.
Oh, they gave you her cell phone number? Okay. So you tried calling her on her
Quite a
cell?
while ago.
Oh, so you've had it for a while?
Yeah,
Oh,
quite a
okay.
while.
Sure, sure. So you tried calling her on her cell phone, she doesn't answer.
No.
Do you have lunch then or something, or by your mom or anything that day?
No.
Okay, what'd you do then after you called her and she didn't answer?
I think I just waited.
You just waited for her to show up, you mean, or, okay.
No.
Okay, how many times did you try calling her?
No, 2 or 3 times. Because I think after she left, I think I tried to call her. Because I wanted to call and tell her I wanted another picture.
After she left, what do you mean after she left?
After she left, after she
Yeah.
took the picture and everything.
Oh, okay, so you called her back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she didn't answer either.
So I just wanna get this straight. So you called her once, she didn't answer,
No.
okay? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then did you call her again, or did she just show up?
No, she just showed up.
She just showed up, okay. What were you gonna sell?
Then we wanted a van.
The van?
I took pictures of
Okay. Where was the van parked?
between me and Barbara at a driveway.
By the driveway between you and Barbara? Okay. So she shows up, about what time?
Most time it's between 2 and 3 o'clock.
Have
This
you,
time it was between, 2 and 2:30.
so she shows up between 2 and 2:30?
Yeah, somewhere.
Okay. You'd met her before, is that correct?
A year.
I'm
Little over
sorry?
a year.
A little over a year?
Yeah, or a year, somewhere in there.
You met her about a year or a little over a year ago?
Yeah, she's been coming out.
So she'd come out before. How many times has she been to your house?
Maybe 15 or somewhere in there.
15 times?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Um,
Time before that, I put a Pontiac in there, and that was 3 o'clock when she came out.
The time before that, you put
Yeah,
Pontiac
she
in there?
called.
Okay, when was that you put the Pontiac in there?
Could have been the week before, or a week before that.
The week before last week, you mean? So she came out that time too?
Yeah.
Okay, so week before Monday she came out, so like 2 Mondays ago or so?
It could have been a Monday ago or Monday before that.
Okay, and that was a Pontiac Grand Am?
No, Grand
Prix?
Grand Prix.
Pontiac Grand Prix. So first you'd called her that time, she comes out and she take pictures of the Grand Prix?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the second time you called her out to take pictures of the van,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so you had met her before?
Well, a lot
Okay,
of times.
a lot of times. What was her name again? I forget her name now again.
Teresa.
Teresa, that's it, Teresa. So you had her cell phone number for a while then?
Yeah.
Okay. So Teresa comes out the second time to take pictures of the van, and the van's parked between you and your sister, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And does she take the picture?
Yeah.
She does. How many pictures does she take, do you think?
This one.
Okay, just one. Were you there outside when she took the picture, or what?
I was coming out
You're coming out, where were you coming out from?
from the trailer.
From whose trailer?
where I live.
Where you live? Okay, so you come out of the trailer and you see her doing what?
And she took the picture and then she wrote down the serial number.
She wrote down the serial number? Okay. So she writes down the serial number, she takes the picture, and then, how much was it charged for that?
$40.
$40. She comes into the house then?
No,
Okay, she doesn't come into the house? Okay. How do you pay her?
in cash.
In cash? Where did you pay
I put
her?
a slip of paper with the article on it.
Okay. What article?
The 89 van for sale.
Oh, okay, I understand. The ad, okay. So you paid her $40, and where did you pay her the money?
Right there on the van.
By the van?
Yeah.
Okay. Does she come into the house that day?
No.
Never?
No.
And after you pay her the $40, what happens next?
She got her vehicle. I followed her and she gave me that book.
She what?
She gave me that auto trader book.
Okay.
And she
So
had to
she's-
go over and get it.
So you came over and got the book?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you pay her? Outside the car?
Yeah.
So-
Well,
Was she standing outside the van?
when I paid her, yeah.
When you paid her, she's
Yeah.
standing outside the van? That's right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's outside the van, you're outside the van, and she pays you $40.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I paid her $40.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you paid her $40, right? My mistake. Was Barbara home?
No, she was working.
How about any of Barbara's kids?
Bobby was home.
Okay, how do you know Bobby was home?
Miss Trump was home.
His truck was home. Okay, did you talk to Bobby before that?
I think earlier I did.
You talked to him?
I don't remember.
Okay, if you don't remember, that's okay. So you talked to Bob, you may have talked to Bob earlier, but anyway, you're outside, she's outside, and you pay her $40, okay? And then what happens?
Well, then she got in her vehicle
She got her vehicle?
and she got the book. And I told her I didn't need no paperwork no more
Mhm.
since the Pontiac.
Mhm.
So, the book is good. I got no problems.
Mhm.
That's just more garbage around me.
Okay,
So she's been keeping them.
okay. Did you guys talk a little bit? She said, I heard she was a pretty nice girl, I guess.
Just mostly it was high and, by.
Well, she's been there 15 times. I mean, usually when somebody's been by my house 15 times, you kind of get to know them a little bit, small talk at least. At least in my experience. Is that the case with you and her? I mean,
No, not really.
no?
It's mostly the same thing over and over.
Okay.
Hi.
You ever invite her into the house?
And she could, I stand by the door or something.
She would stand by the door?
That's probably a long time ago.
Long time ago?
Yeah.
How long ago?
I don't know.
Okay.
Can't remember what time it was.
So on Monday at 2:30, she shows up and she's there for about how long?
Within 5 minutes.
5
Or
minutes?
less.
So she takes a picture, you come outside, she and you are both outside, you give her the money, she goes and gets in her truck and then gives you an Auto Trader magazine,
Yeah.
is that right? Okay. Is she in the truck or out of the truck when she gives you the magazine?
She's in the truck.
She's in the truck, okay. Then what happens next?
Then she gave me the book, shut the door. I walked to her house. I put the book on the computer.
Mhm.
I came back out. Then I was gonna walk over to Bobby. But then the vehicle was gone.
So you walk in the house, you put the magazine down, you come out, and Bobby's vehicle's gone?
Bobby's vehicle's gone.
Okay.
Because then I looked up my road and I seen her. And she was on the road and turned.
You looked up by the road, where were you standing?
The middle, kind of, in the driveway.
You're standing in the driveway, in the middle of your driveway?
Yeah,
And from there you look down the road, you said,
yeah.
and you saw what?
And she was almost by the end of the road. She had a single light turn.
Teresa, you mean? Okay. Which signal light she had on, the right or left?
The left.
The left.
Because she was going towards the high system in front of you.
You didn't see any other cars? Just
No,
Teresa's?
just Teresa.
Okay. So she's the only car you saw on the road? Turning left.
you know,
Okay.
gotta pay attention to.
Sure. I understand. Okay, what'd you do after that?
I think, so
Okay,
went back
take your
in the
time.
house,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, watched the news, the radio, ate something.
What'd you eat?
I don't remember either. I think some, bologna and that,
Yeah.
but just a hair later, my mom came down.
When?
My mom came down.
Okay, what time
A
is it?
little bit later,
A little bit later, like how long later?
5, 10 minutes,
Okay, so Teresa was there for about 5 minutes, you said?
yeah.
So that would make it about 2:35 or so?
No, between 2 and 2:30.
2 and 2:30,
That
okay.
could have been
You're not sure?
5
of the-
after, 10 after, quarter after.
You're not sure of the time?
I
Okay,
ain't
so
sure of the
Teresa's
time.
there about 5 minutes, and you go in the house, and your mom comes down. How long after Teresa leaves does your mom come down?
It wasn't long, 5, 10 minutes.
5, 10 minutes? Okay. And what happens when your mom comes down?
She brings me my mail,
Brings you your mail?
yeah.
Okay. Then what?
She gave me my mail. I looked at it. And I sat on the golf cart and then talked for a minute or something.
Where was the golf cart?
She drove up by in my driveway.
Your mom brought the golf cart down?
Yeah,
Okay. So you sat in the golf cart with your mom,
I think I did,
and you looked at the mail?
yeah.
Okay. Then what happened?
She just stayed for a little bit, then she went back.
Okay. What did you do then?
Went back in the house with my mail.
Okay. And then what?
I don't know, was the radio, watch TV
Okay.
or something.
Did you do that all night, or what else did you do that night?
Well,
I mean, did you
I
maybe
did that.
clean the house, did you take out the garbage, burn some garbage, go down and see your brother?
I burned on my burning barrel for quite a while.
So you didn't
Now
burn?
I put some, 2 cases, one Mountain Dew, one Pepsi. But that was been there for a couple of days already.
Where'd you put that?
That was in the burning barrel.
Okay. Where's the burning barrel? Front or?
That's in the
back?
front.
Okay.
Could you explain that for me, please? You said you hadn't burned anything in your barrel for a little while. You had put a case of Mountain Dew and Pepsi in there?
Yeah, empty that cardboard,
Yeah.
some cases, you know.
Okay.
You know,
Where was that burning barrel?
in front.
In the front. Okay. Did you burn anything that night?
No,
You didn't burn anything that night?
no. Oh,
Have you burned, when did you burn the burning barrel last before that?
been a while.
Been a while, like maybe a week or so, or 2 weeks?
Probably
or-
longer than a week.
Probably longer than a week
Yeah.
since you burned the burning barrel? Okay. Is there any other burning barrels over there? I didn't
Not like me, no.
No? Okay.
And that was the brush in the back.
There's brush in the back? Is it a brush pile or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they had from, by way down there, they're cleaning it, so
Okay.
I told them to clean it up, get rid of the brush and put it in that.
Did you burn that yet?
Yeah, that was
Where is that in relation to your house?
just right across the lane there.
Right across the lane. I'm not sure what you
And
mean. In
here's-
front of the house, you mean? Or in the back of the house?
In the back,
In back of the house. Way in back?
well, in that field.
In the field?
Yeah.
Okay. Because in back of your house, there's, you know where your dog is?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, not there, the other side.
Okay, the other side, opposite of where your dog
Yeah.
is. Okay.
West side that would be then?
Probably the north side.
North side would be like the front of the house.
Yeah, we're kind of.
You're kind of on a
the
corner.
side, yeah.
Okay.
On the corner, yeah.
So this is your house here, okay, my arm, okay? The road comes down here, your
Yeah.
sister's house is here,
Yeah,
and your driveway's in here,
yeah,
okay? Your driveway's in here.
yeah.
So where was that brush that you burned?
Well, that brush was all from over here,
Over here.
and I burned it over
Okay.
here.
Where's the dog? Point where the dog was.
The dog is over the house there.
Dog is over here?
Yeah. It's right by the dog.
Okay.
brushes?
Yeah,
The brushes, I thought you said the brush was over here.
that's where we all get it from,
Okay.
the brush.
So where did you burn it?
By the dog.
By the dock here? Okay. And when did you burn that? Like last week or week before, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
During the week.
During the week? Which week? Like last week, you mean?
No,
Okay.
it was during the week before.
The week before? Okay. Remembering what last week was, Friday, Saturday, you went up north, so that week before that, you didn't burn it?
No,
No?
the
Okay.
week before that.
Okay. So there hasn't been any fires going there for over a week then?
Yeah,
Okay. Over a week.
I threw a couple of tires in there too.
That was over a week ago. That was before Teresa was at your house?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So last time you burned anything was over a week ago before Teresa was at your house,
Yeah.
and then you burned some brush, and what else did you burn? Just some tires?
Yeah, there was some tires there.
Okay. Those babies really smoke when you burn them, huh?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
You just burn to get rid of them, or to get the rubber off?
No, there were, I had a couple of them laying around.
Okay.
Something you ain't supposed to do, but I did it. A lot of people burn them.
Yeah, a lot of people burn stuff, they're not supposed to burn plastic either, a lot of people do it, they burn their garbage, they burn plastic, you know, so be it. Don't worry about that, I don't care about that, don't worry about if you're tired. But, the tires, why you burn the tires?
Well, I had some laying around, they were no good.
Just to get rid of them?
Yeah,
Okay. Was there rims with them, or just tires, or what?
just tires.
What else did you burn there that day?
My garbage,
Garbage?
yeah,
Okay. But that was well over a week ago?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I haven't had much garbage. Mostly eat up the lawn now.
Sure. So you burned that well over a week ago, and what else is in there? You got some garbage, you got some brush, you got some tires, anything else in there? No? No. Okay. Well, let's go back to that Monday we were talking about. We kind of got off track here, okay? So you said that your mom came over, she gave you the mail. By this time Teresa was gone.
Yeah.
And you went in the house and you looked at your mail, right?
Yeah.
And you said you listened to music and watched TV. Did you do anything else that night?
Well, I remember, spending some time with my Barbara, because they got that deer.
Okay. And that was the same day? On Monday, or?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to stop it here because Stephen Avery, he begins to mix the days up. Everything he's about to start talking about happened on Friday. And he's mistaking it for happening on Monday.
Millbilly,
Yes.
can I just make the comment? I made some comments in the chat that, you know, it's pretty obvious what Wicked and Fassbender are doing. They're getting an itinerary of what Stephen did during up that week. They want a detailed itinerary. Because Stephen is hesitating in providing an answer, I think they're taking it as a form of deception.
You may be right.
Yep.
Another thing perhaps worth mentioning is that, you know, with regard to what Stephen was just talking about with regard to the mail, you know, if my Avery comes up at about 3 o'clock to give the mail, that's yet again another distraction from when he's supposed to be committing all these heinous crimes, and she doesn't hear anything, right? And it's not too far from there where Blaine and Brendan get off the bus and come home, and Blaine doesn't hear anything.
But she
and
doesn't
that's
get questioned about it. There's nowhere in
Oh,
case or anything about
They
her
talked
bringing.
to her in Marinette County, and she gave a written statement, and it was, "I only know what I've seen on the news."
Yeah.
And
She-
she
But
she was
probably,
there.
she probably,
Weaver doesn't go
she
back.
probably
Back
did the
to
same
go
thing
back.
Chuck did to O'Neill and Florisky on the way to the hospital. I'm done talking. I already gave you my statement. What do they tell him? Well, this is your chance to change it. I already
Yeah.
gave you my statement. I'm done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I-
that I was going to say, Big Jeff, that particular statement there is so crucial because that's exactly what Brendan said. He got on his bike, got the mail, and brought it to Stephen, and that's why he knocked on the door. But you see how important that statement is, and Millbilly's correct. Had Ma Avery picked up the importance of just that phrase, my mother brought me the mail, that would bring the entire story in disrepute.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it
Unfortunately, that
Brendan's suggested story and hers into
correct.
conflict?
And notice the mail was brought before Brendan even got off the bus. That's an important point.
Yeah, but there's just hole after hole after hole of the narrative, starting with the mail and going on until there's so many people that show up to Stevens in between the time where you're supposed to be committing all these heinous crimes. And no forensic evidence, no smell of a burning body, no time to do it between Ma Avery, Blaine and Brendan, Earl and Robert Fabian showing up, and nobody manages to go over this fire pit where this body's being burned or can smell it. So
Did
I
you
mean,
pick up that Steven said he burned the tires the week before when he burnt the seat?
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
What do you think it was? Same again Monday, okay. Who got the deer?
Bobby did.
You shoot it, or?
No, somebody hit it up the road.
Okay. You said before that Bobby was gone. Who first came home over by Barbara's house that night? Do you know? I don't know. Who normally comes home during the day first? Do you know that?
The boys.
The boys from school? Okay. What time do they usually come home?
3:30, 4:04,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
Can I ask one question? I'm backing way up because I had no other answer about it. You said that you called her because you had another vehicle that you wanted her to take a picture of?
Yeah.
Which vehicle was that?
Well, I wanted to put the loader in, one that's sitting up the road. It's been sitting there for quite a while.
The loader?
Yeah. Had it been from the salvage yard.
It's sitting on your road? You drive that?
Yeah, but a fence up, but an impound.
Okay, there's a loader there.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Yeah, right before the trailer, that house trailer, that blue one there.
Yep. Sorry for stopping the video, but I think this is an important point. Do you know exactly where that loader was?
Yeah, it's I have to bring the photo up. Hold on. It was in here. This is
You're pointing at one of the buildings.
This is
We're
the
not saying your house.
This is the station wagon. Right off the road. I know my mouse ain't gonna show up,
Right.
but it's in the impound yard.
So that in the bottom of the fence around it area.
He says right by the trailer.
Right. So in other words, Teresa, that is on the way out, and Teresa would have passed it driving out if she indeed drove out of the salvage yard.
Yeah, but he tried calling her back later in the day.
All
And it
right.
went
Now
to her voicemail.
was anybody else aware that they wanted that loader photographed?
Well, what I believe happened, I have to check his phone record to see. He might have called Chucky or Earl and mentioned it to one of them. And then when Earl and Fabian rolled down on the golf cart, and they asked him if she came to take pictures, and when he stated that.
Mm-hmm.
But Fabian doesn't make that statement until his second interview on the 30th. He's first interviewed on the 11th? No, the 10th. And he doesn't say anything about that. And in the 30th interview, they asked him about him seeing a car at the turnaround, and it now goes from being a green vehicle to a blue Jeep.
Yeah, that's what I do about it.
Okay. Did she come back and take pictures of that, or?
She never asked me.
Okay.
So when she left, did you call her right after she left, or how long after she left?
Oh, probably after my mom came down.
After your mom came
Yeah.
down? And how long was your mom there?
10 minutes, maybe.
Okay. After your mom leaves and goes home, then you call her again and about the loader,
Yeah,
but she doesn't answer?
no,
So how many times did you call her in total that day?
2-3 times.
And that call was just before your mom came down?
Just after? you
Or
said?
just after, for the loader?
Oh, for the older, it was after my mom came down.
Okay. I gotta let him catch up a little bit. So let's go back to that night. You said you were at home and you listened to some music and watched some TV. You remember what TV shows you would have watched on Monday night?
Well, I really don't watch too much TV shows. Watch mostly like country music and them shows.
Okay. Do you have cable or?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you home all night by yourself then?
You know.
Nobody else
So I
stopped
went
over?
over by Barbara, yeah.
But you went over by Barbara. You went over.
Well, yeah,
What time did you go by Barbara? You said you went over to look at the deer. What time did you go over there?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But I know Earl and Bob Fabian came down.
Earl and
My
Bob
golf
Fabian.
cart.
Okay. When?
I don't know, around 5 o'clock or something,
5 o'clock?
somewhere there. But he was supposed to be still working or something, or it was on the edge of 5 o'clock.
Okay. Who's Bob Fabian?
My brother's wife's sister's husband.
Got it. Brother's wife, sister's husband. Got it. So Bob and who come down? Bob Fabian
Bob and Earl.
and Earl.
Yeah, Earl was driving out.
And they came down what time? Before you went to your sister's or after?
After.
After. Okay, so you went to your sister's, then you went
No,
where?
he came over first.
You came over first?
After that, then I went to Barbara.
Okay. So what did they do when they came down?
They stopped for a minute. And then they were riding around with a go-kart. They're looking for, I don't know, rabbits or something, I don't know.
Okay, looking for rabbits.
I can't remember what he was looking for.
Okay. So they leave, and you go over by Barbara.
Yeah.
How long are you over in Barbara?
Probably not too long. Because then they had to go get that deer.
Here. Okay.
It was dark out already, or almost dark or something.
All right. And what did you do?
Well, I came back home.
Okay. What did you do?
I don't remember.
Did you do anything that night? Did you go anywhere after you came home from Barbara's house?
No, I mostly was there, from there. Then with the deer, and I sat there listening to the radio, you know, the country music when I got on.
So the deer was there when you got there?
Not the first time, no, they had to go get it.
Okay.
Because I called Barbara, and she said she had to go get a deer.
Okay. Okay, so that night, after you're done with the deer, you go back home and you do what?
Mostly waiting. I stayed close there, because Jody called me. She called me the first time, I think around 5 o'clock or something.
Jody call you around 9 o'clock?
Yeah, somewhere in there,
Okay.
or 8 o'clock, whatever it was.
So it's either 8 or 9, Jody calls,
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
I'm gonna be home when I tell her to call.
Okay. Because you can't call her,
No.
okay, and then what happens after you talk to Jody?
I don't remember.
Did you do anything else noteworthy that night at all, that you can remember, anything at all, or did you just go to bed, or did you clean, or what?
I don't think remember this. I sit around, most time I just sit around, I go back and forth with Barbara, come home. When she's gonna call, hurry up, go home. You know, I stayed there for a while till they got the deer all cleaned up.
Okay.
In the house talking, shooting the shit.
So did you help clean the deer?
No,
No.
I know they had a mess in the garage.
Oh, bad, oh, bad. That's where they skinned it, in the garage and everything, where they do all that stuff?
I don't know what
Right,
they did.
throw out the garbage,
I don't know
most
because
people
they
do.
took it. 49 from, now it's under down right.
Oh, they're not right there, so you're just skinning it at the house, and that still makes a mess, you know? But you said you didn't have to help that.
No.
I don't blame you.
Barbara did that and Bobby did that.
Yeah, that's a mess. So what time do you think, you went to bed that night?
My father was in bed by, I don't know, 9 o'clock,
9 o'clock?
somewhere there. Cause then I lay there with the TV on and,
What did you watch, do you remember?
well, they go through the channels, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Anything specific you can remember that you watched that night?
There was a couple of things on, the sex programs.
Sex programs? Like pornography, you mean?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah.
What channels are those on, do you have?
Between 501 to 5,
Don't you have to pay per show though, or not? Or you have
No,
to
I
be
got-
subscribed to them?
yeah.
Oh, okay,
got a package.
I understand. So you watch them from like 9 o'clock till when?
10:30.
10:30, okay. Do you remember which ones they were? Were they movies or a specific show on those that you like to watch?
Two women.
Two women? Okay. Was that what you're watching that night, something with two women?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what it was called? Remember which channel it was? You probably remember that, which channel it was more than likely.
Between, it's on 513, 514,
But you don't remember which channel you watched that night?
I don't remember. Well, they keep on, they go back and forth, you know. And sometimes I get sick of that one, and I go to another one, and
Sure. So you watched, was it a movie or?
no, I think they come on at such a time.
Okay. So it was about two women having sex?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes, then a guy comes in and then,
Mhm. Okay. So you watched that from 9 till about 10:30, you said?
about somewhere there.
9 till about 10:30. Okay.
Sometimes 10 o'clock, I'll shut it off and turn on the news.
Is there a specific one you like to watch, channel?
You know,
No, just whatever one,
yeah, in between them 500s.
whichever one's got the best one on?
Yeah, whatever I like.
Okay, sure.
A lot of times, say 10 o'clock comes, I watch those, then this, when the weather comes up, I shut it off.
So you watch the news till the weather comes up?
Yeah.
And then you shut it off, or do you go back to your movies, or do you go back to,
No, most time I just shut it off.
you shut the TV off?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you do what? Go to sleep?
Sleep.
So on Monday nights, did you do that? Did you watch the news at all, or did you just, because you said you watched that till 10 or 10:30, do you remember watching the news at all Monday night? that's okay. If you don't remember, that's okay.
I could have.
Tough to say, you said you went, so.
Maybe I could have, because I think it was supposed to rain or something.
Okay.
And then I told Mark, Tuesday morning, it was supposed to rain or something.
Okay. So then you shut the TV off, and then you went to sleep.
Yeah.
You sleep all night?
Yeah.
Did you get up and go anywhere that night?
No.
What time did you get out of bed? On Tuesday?
Most time, the alarm was set for 6 o'clock. So I get up, take a shower, get dressed.
So, do you remember about your day on Tuesday at all?
Went to work at 8 o'clock.
Or 8 o'clock? And then what?
Mostly the whole week I worked in the garage.
So Tuesday through, or Friday, 'cause Monday you said did you go back to work Monday, by the way, after she came and took the pictures, or did you just stay home the rest of the day? I don't know if I asked.
I
that.
stayed home.
You stayed home, okay. So she come over, you got off at 11 that day, you didn't go back to work?
No.
Okay. So Tuesday through, what? You work every day that week? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
Friday?
Yeah, because
Okay.
Thursday we went to the auction and that.
Okay. So let's go Tuesday and Wednesday. You work all day?
Yeah,
What time?
8 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, Tuesday and Wednesday that week. And let's go Tuesday night. Do you remember doing anything special Tuesday night?
Tuesday night, I go up to see her,
Go up to see who?
Jody.
Go up to see Jody on Tuesday night. What time do you go see Jody?
There is at 7 o'clock.
How do you get up there? Do you drive up there?
I drive up there.
What do you take?
I take my granddad. And the only time I take my truck is when I pick her up and take her to her meetings, because that's the only one I got insurance on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in case something happens.
Otherwise, it sits there and there's too hard on gas.
Sure. So on Wednesday, you go to work at 8 again,
Yeah.
and you work till 5. You would do anything special Wednesday night?
Can't remember.
Can't remember Wednesday night? Remember what time you went to bed Wednesday night, anything? No?
Now, most of the time, I go to bed at almost about the same time every night, sometimes 11 o'clock.
Okay, let's say Thursday. Let's talk about Thursday. What did you do during the day Thursday?
Thursday, I got up, 6 o'clock. I took a shower, got dressed. I had to go up with the flatbed, get it all ready, get the checkbook. Take, run the house for, I think, for a bit. And, run over by Earl, went to the auction Thursday.
Okay, what time did you go by Earl?
It was, before 7 o'clock.
Before 7 o'clock. And then you pick him up, or
Pick him up.
Where do you go?
And we go to the auction
Where's that?
in Appleton.
And what kind of auction?
Insurance,
Where they,
claims and everything.
okay, where they sell cars,
Yeah.
insurance? Okay. You get there at what time?
Like the insurance company?
Did you stop anywhere on the way between your house?
We stopped at McDonald's.
Stop at McDonald's, okay. And then from McDonald's you go to the insurance sale? Okay, and you're there for how long?
Well, it starts at 9 o'clock, and then it's between 11 and 12,
Between 11 and 12.
12:30.
Okay, so after you leave there, where do you go?
Well, then, I don't know if we went,
Did you buy any cars?
I think, yeah, we bought a 99 Grand Am.
Okay. Did you bring it home with you?
Yeah,
Okay. Where is that now?
that's in the back.
In the back, in the,
Yeah, it's on the
in the salvage yard?
Yeah, we sold the motor out of there.
Oh, okay. So, you buy the car and you took your flatbed up there, I assume,
Yeah.
huh? Okay. Do you come home, then you stop anywhere on the way home?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
The road drives back.
Road drives back and you don't stop anywhere. What time do you get home on Thursday?
The road got home, it was 2 o'clock.
At 2 o'clock. Did you go back into work then?
Yeah. Well, I had my work clothes on.
Okay. What did you do at work then when you got back?
No, I worked in the garage.
Worked in the garage. And you worked till
5 o'clock.
And then let's talk about Thursday night. What did you do Thursday night?
I don't remember.
Nothing sticks out at you? No.
I don't know, I said it so many times,
Okay.
I know it's just,
I understand. I understand. It's tiring after a while. Yeah. How about Friday? Do you go to work Friday?
you know,
Okay. 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock,
Do you work all day?
yeah, to 5 o'clock.
Okay. Do you take lunch that day
Yeah, in the house.
in your house or would you go to
No, no, it's always been house.
my mom's? Okay.
Yeah.
So Friday you work, you have lunch at mom's,
Yeah.
you work till 5,
Yeah.
and then what? Do you have supper?
Yeah, I eat a lot of supper by now.
So do you remember if you ate there on Friday?
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay. So after supper on Friday, what do you think you did?
No, I went home.
You went home? Okay.
Well, it was Friday night with that deer.
It's Friday night with the
Friday
dinner?
night with that deer.
It wasn't Tuesday night, no?
No, that's Friday night.
Okay, so it's Friday night with the deer.
That's Friday night with the deer.
Okay. You wanna think about, or when did we say you had the deer last night? Monday night, right? Because that was the same night Teresa was at your house. That's what you told me before.
Yeah.
So now it's Friday night?
No, it's Friday night.
Okay, Friday night.
But yeah, I'm done, I can't do
That's
that
okay.
anymore.
That's all right, take your time.
No, it's all confusing.
I know, it's hard to think back.
I ain't gonna do it no more.
Hard to think back.
I can't do it no more.
Do you wanna talk anymore?
No. It's too hard.
You don't wanna talk anymore?
It's too hard. I don't,
You
I
wanna
don't know
talk
where to
about,
go.
do you wanna talk about something else?
What am I supposed to talk about? It's just a hard time.
Shoot
I
the
can't
shit.
keep it going.
You can talk about anything you want.
Shoot the shit or something.
You wanna break?
Refresh that,
Yeah, but
your
it's-
mind, another
it's-
soda?
It's puzzling.
Oh, I know.
It gives me a headache.
It's a lot to think about.
You know what nobody pays attention what they did or, you know, day over day,
I understand.
you know? What you have last week for supper?
I agree.
Monday.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing
I
with you.
don't- It's hard.
Okay.
You know, we ain't expecting nothing like this.
Right.
You're trying very hard.
Yeah, I'm
You
trying.
are. And if you don't remember, then just say I don't remember, you know? But you're trying very hard.
Well,
I
now,
appreciate that.
I don't even know the dates. I got them all mixed up.
That's okay. Hey, I understand. We all get things
I
mixed
don't,
up.
I don't like it. That's the thing. If I get shit where I said I got it Monday, it's Friday, I don't like it,
Well,
you know?
if you don't know, then just
Just say you don't know.
say I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I ain't either.
That's fine.
I don't like it like that. Because most time, I know what I do. You know, it's all confusing. There's so much pressure and everything else, and 150 people talking, and
I know.
trying to do the right thing, and
You wanna take a break?
I don't know what that was doing and he's gonna do.
We'll talk about other things.
Like what?
Whatever you want. You want another soda? We can get you another soda, whatever you'd like.
I'm good for now.
Good for now.
Where'd you meet Jody? Something else to talk about.
That's another thing. I met her at a gas station.
I mean, how long ago, Bob?
If I would've stayed there, she wouldn't have been in trouble like this.
Oh, her trouble? When'd she get in
You know
trouble
what,
for?
she used to drink all the time, that vodka. Her life was all messed up. I met her and took her car and I smashed the front end of it, pushing my blazer. So I put it in the ditch and, I just got out. I didn't give a shit,
Yeah.
She was in a little, she didn't like it was her car and then, there's a road behind. So I left. I found a state. She was been there trouble. 4 or 5 times already. 4 times with herself.
Drunk driving?
How long is she gonna be in there?
She got 9 months and 4 years probation.
When did she get in?
She got half done, I think.
Oh,
No, Huber?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got a friend that, kind of a friend, I guess, that was in prison for, they were Supermax. You ever have to go there?
No.
Down Bondwell, is that Bondwell, Mark?
I think so, yeah. Boscobel.
Or Boscobel. And he was down there 3 years. That's a long time in solitary, essentially. And he finally got out, he won an appeal of some sort, and he got out, and he said it was very rough. Said, is that how you felt too? Did they prep you for that at all, or, counsel you a little, and,
No, that is so ready.
yeah, I can empathize with that, that had to be tough.
Just like this. Put me right in it.
Yeah. We're not,
What about
we're not
this?
down on you or anything,
I know, but what about this cop?
You wanna
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
That's something you might wanna talk about, give us some info on that.
Do you wanna talk about that? Yes?
Tammy Weber told me that.
So you wanna talk about that,
Let's
yes?
talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it. Tammy Weber told you?
Yeah.
What did she tell you?
That she heard from somebody else, and somebody else heard it from a cop to them. Then it came to me.
What did she tell
Millbilly, why, just two quick comments. Was Stephen Avery under any obligation to answer any of these questions?
No.
And wasn't he already asked these very same questions before?
Twice.
Twice, right? Because he said very early on in the
On
interview,
the 5th and the
you know,
6th.
he said, I'm sick and tired of answering these questions. And then Wiegert gives him the line, well, we've never met you before, blah, blah, blah. But my final point is this. Why did he ask Stephen several times about Tammy Weber? You want to talk about, he says, you want to talk about that, do you? Why did he preempt Stephen?
He wants to keep him talking.
Yeah.
Just to keep Stephen
They
talking.
need that warrant signed.
Yes,
But-
yes.
The rest-
But why didn't these two knuckleheads get the warrant signed first?
That's a very good question. Because they,
Yeah, it's probably get him in there and keep him talking. Get him in there as soon as possible because this is right from the DNA. So they had him. I don't think they wanted to let him go. So it was a race against time.
yep, and they're about to start talking about Tammy.
you? What did she
Yeah.
tell you she heard?
She told me that she heard that a cop put it out there and planted evidence,
Put one up there,
that vehicle.
and that's Teresa's vehicle?
Yeah,
So Tammy Weber told you that somebody told her
yeah,
that a cop put that vehicle, Teresa's vehicle, out on your property.
yeah.
Say that again, Mark?
Tammy Weber told Steve that somebody told her
She heard it from someone else.
that a cop put Teresa's vehicle on your property. Is that right? Do I got it right?
Yeah, and some evidence or whatever.
What kind of evidence did she say?
No.
Do you know who's telling Tammy Weber this?
Some other woman, and another woman who was supposed to hear that from a cop. A cop
So
told
a cop told one woman, another woman told Tammy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And he
almost
said
two
I
more
had,
women in
and
there.
he
agency?
No,
No. Did she tell you where the cop put the vehicle?
no.
What else did she tell you? Probably easier if I ask what else she told you.
That was about it.
That's it?
And I was trying to get a hold of her, and
Who's Tammy Weber?
she lives in Coercive.
Did she say anything about evidence? What kind of evidence that this cop put there too?
No, I guess she said they're trying to set me up for the Bernstein's case, and with Teresa's family.
Okay. And Teresa's family's involved in this, do you think?
That's what she says.
So who says that now?
Tammy did.
Tammy told you that Teresa's family's involved in trying to set you up?
Well, she didn't put it in that way.
Okay, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. You tell me what she said.
With Bernstein's case, and Bernstein knows Teresa's family and everything else, and
Mhm.
I don't know how she put it, but they're trying to put the rap on me.
And that's what Tammy told you?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you think that truck got on that property? I mean, which way do you think they came in, or?
Well, when I seen him, taillights by me, and Chucky seen headlights by him, I don't know, they drove it.
Which way was it pointed,
What?
the truck?
I don't know.
I don't know. What, was there a different way in there, or two ways into there, or?
A bunch of ways in there, there's main road, there's by me, there's in the pit.
Okay.
By you? Is there a road down by you?
Well, there's a road going up so far, and you got the field and everything.
Oh, okay, so you could go through the field?
Yeah.
All right.
What kind of truck was it, do you know?
Of course, everybody knows now.
I'm trying to think of it, that's why I'm asking.
Toyota.
Toyota, that's right. I think it was a four-wheeler or something like that.
I don't know if it was a four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive.
Okay. So that's what Tammy Weber told you. Did Tammy tell you anything else?
No.
Where did Tammy tell you this at? Where did you
On the
see Tammy?
telephone.
On the telephone, she called you?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember when she called you?
Last night sometime.
Last night sometime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was there trying to get hold of her this morning. I talked to her twice. And she said she was in Manitowoc first. Then she had to go by the hospital. Her mom was there, she told me.
Where does Tammy live?
Into her.
Is she a friend of yours or something, or
Yeah, I know her.
how do you know her?
It was my friend at one time.
You sure she didn't say anything about the evidence, what kind of evidence there was planted or anything like that?
No.
And the cop was supposed to put that stuff there too, whatever she was talking about, but we
Yeah.
don't know what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. She said where it was supposed to be?
No.
No.
No. There's plant evidence.
We talked to her? Can we?
This morning.
No, can we
Did we talk to her?
Okay. Did you tell her your life or not yet?
You can talk to her.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if she told you don't tell anyone or don't tell anyone my name or. Okay.
Did you ever see that vehicle up there, Mike?
In the yard.
Yeah.
I haven't been in the yard in way down in there. I don't go down there every day.
Okay.
Other than out down there hardly at all.
When's the last time you were down there? Do you remember that at all, or a long time ago, or? I think that's kind of where you were shooting in that area, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did you see it that day?
No,
That was Friday.
but yeah, I wasn't looking.
That's true. That's true.
You know.
Yeah.
If it's sticking out, if I see something, then I notice it.
Mm-hmm. That didn't stick out, you didn't see it?
No.
I understand that.
It was by the crusher, and the farmer's only right there, and the car's right there. Not to start out, I was going, drive over there, see what that is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I didn't see it. I didn't see nothing. I put that car in the pit, in the crusher, I crushed it, and then went back up. But you don't look
I'm gonna step out and get a drink of water with Tom. You wanna just relax for a few minutes? I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Soda, coffee,
Soda.
Mountain Dew if we can get it?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. Tammy Weber. I'll bring this back up. Basically, it says that Tammy Weber had heard that the Two Rivers police officer had put the car on the property. She then tells him that her son is friends with the Schneider boys, and they had overheard from the police officer that the car got put there. But then they go and talk to the Schneider boys' father, and he claims that they got this crazy story from playing with the Ouija board. Then we got the DCI report. It says on Monday, November 14th, approximately 12:47, Deborah Strauss, Lisa Wilson interviewed Tammy Weber. For the purpose of the report, Avery family members, Dassey family members will be referred to by their first names. Weber provided following information. Weber began by stating the following about the Avery family. He doesn't care about any of them. The police should lock them all up. I don't know what happened between someone and the Avery family in the hall box. Weber stated she had been talking to Stephen Avery on and off all week. Stephen had called her once or twice, just before he was arrested, and she called him several times. Weber would call Steve to see how he was doing because he was upset and emotional about everything that was going on. Weber said that during one of her conversations with Steve asked if he had anything to do with the missing photographer. Steve said he did not, and Weber believed him. Weber said she knows Steve and trusts him because she has grown up with him, well, at least until he got arrested. Weber has asked if he had any idea who was responsible for the disappearance of Hallbach. Weber responded she thought Steve was being set up. When Weber asked by whom, Weber responded, anybody. I would really like to see this audio interview because I'm sure it doesn't go like this. And she said Manitowoc County. Weber counted and said that Manitowoc County has been after Steve for a long time. Weber again stated she thought Steve was being set up, but if Steve did do this, Weber believes Steve did not kill Hallbach by himself. Weber told special agents that if anybody was in Avery family would be committed a crime such as this, it would have been Chuck Avery. Weber believes this because Chuck has beaten, raped, and tried to kill his ex-wife. Weber believes if Chuck could do this to someone he knows, he could also do it to a stranger. Weber has spent a lot of time with Steve since he got out of prison, and Weber has heard Steve say anything bad. Weber explained that Steve would come over to her house and help her with her car. If Weber needed Steve to help her with anything, he would always try to accommodate her. Weber stated Steve never touched her or tried to hurt her in any way. Weber also said she told Steve that if he would ever touch her or hurt her anyway, she would go to the police. Weber explained this is not because she was talking to Steve, but instead this is because Weber had been raped in the past, and this is what she told every man. Weber explained that anytime she needed Steve for help, Steve would always come to her house. Weber also never go to Avery residence because she did not like Avery family. There have been many times that Steve has come over to her house to help her. Many of those times it would just be Steve and Weber. Weber stated Steve had sold her a car engine and tires to her car. When asked Weber, she's not talked to Steven since his arrest, nor has she talked to any of the other family members. Weber described Avery members as follows. Weber stated Chuck was an asshole. Weber said she liked Earl until Earl married Candy. Candy is jealous of Weber, so Weber does not have a lot of contact with Earl. Weber used to babysit for Barb's children when they were younger. Weber said she did not deal with Barb much anymore. Weber stated Dolores and Weber. This is just like the Bobby Dassey rendition of his. They just talk about what they said, but there's no dialogue what they're asking the questions. But anyway,
Right.
Weber was asked how she met the Avery family. Weber stated many years ago when she was salvage yard, she's still being run by Alan. Weber and her mom used to work there. As a result, Weber, but she says she went to school with them in the case report, so this isn't making any sense. When Stephen went to court for Penny Bernstein case, Weber went to every court appearance. Weber said she never believed Stephen was guilty of that crime. According to Weber, she convinced Steve was convicted of Bernstein assault because someone in the Bernstein family paid the jury off. Weber told Strauss that she hates the Bernsteins. During the trial, Penny Bernstein accused Weber of going past Bernstein's candy store, flipping her off. Bernstein told the bailiff in the Weber actions that the bailiff talked to the judge. During the court proceedings, the judge told Weber, this has nothing to do with the Avery case. So I don't even know why they're even talking about this. Strauss asked Weber if Weber told Steve that thought Steve was being set up. Weber said she did. Weber refused to say who she heard the information from, but Weber told Steve that Weber heard a local police officer believe Steve was being set up. Weber also heard Halbach has related to the Bernsteins, and the Bernsteins were just trying to get back at Steve. Steve didn't do anything to the Bernsteins. This is all cockamamie bullshit.
Millbilly, what is the date of that report?
The 14th. Then
The 14th of...
Then the case officers talked to her again on the 30th, I believe. Let's see.
Right. So we get had
19th.
no
So
idea.
they interview her on
Okay.
the 14th, and then 5 days later,
They did the report.
Wiegert and Fassbender go talk to her after Strauss
Right,
and
but-
Lisa Wilson.
But prior to that date, Wiegert and Fassbender had no idea about Tammy Weber.
Nope.
Weber.
Great.
Then how come Wiegert acted so surprised when he said to Stephen, "Oh, you want to talk about that, do you?" So what's the reasoning behind that if they didn't know the context of the conversation?
Why did they get up and leave the room?
That's a good question, though, Tony.
Well, I mean, didn't he talk to Jody on the phone and told her in the jail call that he was going to be contacting the FBI?
This is after he's
Uh,
arrested.
Yeah.
No, he was going to, when he was up in Crivets, he said that Tammy
No.
had called, he had talked to Tammy.
That's not in the jail calls with Jody. That's when he's in jail.
No, this one was before that he was going to be contacting, he was up in Crivets and he was going to be contacting the FBI because he
Well-
was told that the cops were planning evidence and he was being set up.
If you say so.
I think you could be right there. Reality check. I remember hearing. See, the point I'm trying to get at is this. It seems like Wiegert knew all about Tammy Weber before Stephen even opened up his mouth. And if reality check what she said is correct, then it's quite likely they've already listened to phone calls.
Well, Stephen was using payphones to call all these people.
Okay.
But they had
Documented.
Jody. If it's a call
It
with
was a
Jody,
call
then
between him and Jody.
they had that from a jail call.
Well, we only have 15 jail calls from Jody and Stephen before he. Well, actually, 2 of them are after he's arrested. So, yeah, very little.
Yeah, because-
we don't have them all.
Right, but the thing is if that conversation took place before Stephen got interviewed, interrogated by Fassbender and Wiegert, then that seems to me that that's foreknowledge by Wiegert, because if you look, and we'll check it out anyway, everything suddenly turned hostile the moment Stephen mentioned Tammy Weber. Everything really went pear-shaped after that. It's remarkable.
Definitely didn't want to hear that.
We continue talking while they exit the room.
Because they're gone for quite a while.
Yeah. Stephen
They've
gets so
actually
bored,
gone-
he starts reading the ingredients
soda
on
can.
the soda can, and then he pulls out the papers he's got and starts going over those. Remember, they've already picked him up,
Yeah.
taken him to the hospital, got his DNA and everything, and now they took him to the Two Rivers Police Department.
Right. And the
Stephen states
charge
that
that,
while he was leaving, he seen Dolores going in. To the jail.
the charge they're going to eventually arrest him on is possession of a firearm. And that just tells you that they needed to quote unquote build their case, or whatever they needed to do with the Avery salvage yard. It's debatable what they did there.
Well, I mean,
there's a lot of confusing information, right? He says that, remember, this all happens on the same day. We did the Earl Avery interview earlier this week. Earl was telling him that he and Fabian were there on Wednesday. So that's in direct contrast with what Stephen said, that the fact that they were there on Monday when he's supposed to be burning the body. So they have their work to sort some stuff out, and that's actually exculpatory to Stephen when you think about it, because they did not see anything meaningful, they did not smell anything meaningful, and they interrupted either Stephen's cleaning job or whatever Stephen may have been doing according to the state's narrative, which is piss poor. So.
Well, and you have to remember this too. This is 11/9. What was supposed to happen on 11/10?
11/11.
Was it 11/11? 11/11. The next depositions, the last two depositions.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
How could I forget? How could we forget?
Yeah, Vogel and Kasorik.
Kasorik and Vogel.
Then Vogel.
Yeah.
Well, in that order, not necessarily in the order I said, but those were the two that were only left.
So it was very important to get him in prison then, wasn't it?
Yes.
Who knows?
All of the time.
Who else would have been called after they talked to those two?
Yeah, Sherry maybe.
Peg.
Oh yeah. They couldn't let it get to that level, could they?
Yeah, and isn't it true, Millbilly, that the searchers went into Stephen's trailer the day before, saw the two weapons, and left them there, and they came back the day after to pick up the weapons? So, and isn't it true that it was Ken Kratz that gave that warrant for the retrieval of the weapons?
He accompanied them when they went to Judge Fox's house. He's the one that signed off on them.
And what's also true is that I believe his felony was not in the books, right? So they actually had to reinstate his felony charges into the books. Charge him
after this interview, Craig Sipple goes and gets a new warrant for the Avery property to be extended for another 5 days.
Millbilly, for those who are new to the case, can you explain, if Stephen was exonerated in the Peggy Bernstein case, why he still had a felony on him?
Well, he didn't have a felony. The thing is, they tried his Sandra Morris case and the Penny Bernstein case together, so he probably got more years than you would have got if it was just been the Morris case by itself. He got charged 6 years for that. But when they dropped all the charges, when he got released in 2003, they cleared everything.
He never had a felony.
He went deer hunting in 2004. He bought a deer hunting license. It was not in the record that he wasn't able to own a gun. He didn't even know that. His record was completely clean. That's why Kratz went and refiled for these gun charge so they could arrest him for that.
That's confusing to me, because I thought it was because technically if you're a felon, you're not to have any firearms.
Yeah, they made a mistake. They took it off. They fucked up. That's not Stephen Avery's fault.
Okay, but how was he supposed to have a felony other than Peggy Bernstein?
The Sandra Morris.
Okay.
Sandra Morris.
All right, so hers was a felony as well.
Yes, felon. He used the gun and ran her off the road. That's a felony.
Yep.
Well, I was just wanting everybody to. I was wanting to explain for people who are new to the case and don't know all of that background.
Millbilly, you're cruising for a bruising, mate.
That's right.
Yes,
Hey, with one button, she can disappear.
Oh,
That's
we
a
can all
felony.
disappear.
I love you, Billy.
That's a felony.
Now, pay attention when Uyghur and them come back in the room, what they start telling them. They say the dogs took them to where the plates were. That's not true. Firefighters found the plates.
Well, they found the plates because Andrew Coburn told one of them that he saw a glint, and they should go check it. So there was a little help from our good friend Andy in the finding
because
of the
Angie
blades. I can't
Colborn
forget
was
who that was.
searching all the trunks around the Avery vicinity of his trailer and along the road. All the trunks there are popped.
Yes.
Yeah, which was a complete act of destruction against the Avery family, right? Because they had keys, they could have given them keys, they could have unlocked it, but they had to destroy every car in the yard, right? It was malicious against the family.
All right, this is where it gets good.
And have a look where Weekend sits.
Like talking yet for a few minutes? Listen, yes? Yes,
I don't
no?
know. What am I gonna say?
I don't know, we'll just chat for a few minutes if you want to chat.
How come everything comes from Manitowoc?
Is that the county we're in? But if you see here, let me show you.
Yeah, how come the judge is from Manitowoc?
Because we're in Manitowoc County, that's why. But the officer here, Wendy Baldwin, she works for Calumet County. Okay. And this was done up by the district attorney from Calumet County. Okay. Reason it's from Manitowoc is because you live in this county.
So this, I ain't on the arrest then?
We have the arrest part, the copy of that warrant here too. For you.
Do you wanna see that? I was gonna show you the, complaint.
So that means I'll go in front of the judge tomorrow. And
I don't know. I don't know when, but you will.
Normally, we don't show a criminal complaint to someone, but let me give you a.
I know from now on, I'm probably gonna need surveillance all the time. I wouldn't move nothing.
You're underneath surveillance?
Otherwise, it's attacking on me,
Why?
because I can't do nothing.
What do you mean? I don't know. Explain what you mean.
I might as well set it up so it's, put it right in my forehead. Everything I do is record it.
Why?
Why? Because then I won't be a suspect in anything.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh, I got you.
Kind of like, what was that movie? With, what was that movie with, the goofy guy, the funny guy, and they were watching everything, his whole life was
Jim
on.
Carrey?
Yeah, Jim Carrey,
Okay.
something like that, I guess.
So you want to talk a little bit yet?
And so,
Okay. How long were you put away for, did you say?
18 years and 6 weeks.
Is that rough on you?
Of course.
I understand that.
Then you get nailed again. The same damn thing.
So what? For this thing? 18 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Long, darn time. Bet you kind of screws a guy up a little bit too after. Yeah, I can understand that. Steve, the results of the investigation indicate, okay, that you had a role in Teresa's disappearance, okay? The truck was found on your property. The license, we found the license plates yesterday that you had put in the car, okay?
I didn't put nothing in the car.
And we also found some of her bonus today in that burning area that you put in, okay?
That was gone.
You need to think about doing the right thing for your family.
It wasn't there.
You need to do the right thing for your family, okay?
I didn't do it.
You need to do the right thing for your family here. Hey, maybe it was an accident. I don't think you meant for this to
I
happen.
didn't do it.
Steve, I don't think you meant for this to happen. Did you meant for this to happen?
I didn't
No.
do it.
It was probably a mistake.
I did not do it.
It was most likely a mistake. Is that right? You didn't mean for this to happen, did you?
I didn't do it.
Then who did it? How did her body get on your property? How did the license plates get in the cars behind your house? How did the truck get on your property? How does that happen, Steve?
I don't know.
Steve, how'd the blood get in your house?
What blood?
Now, Uyghur just messed up. He says we found the plates in the car. Now he just said we found the plates behind your house. And why is he now referencing a body? Not bones, a body.
Her blood
How is her blood in my house?
in your garage.
In your house.
It can't be.
And how does her key, the ignition key, get in your house, in your bedroom? Steve,
It can't be.
think about it,
there.
Steve.
No,
Steve, think about this.
it can't be.
Steve. Steve, it is.
No,
The facts of the matter are, it's just a matter of, did you do this intentionally or was it an accident?
I didn't do
If it was an
nothing.
accident, people understand accident. Maybe you two were out in the junkyard and she fell and hit her head and you were scared. Was that the case? If that's the
No.
case, you should tell us that. Because I don't think you're, this cold-blooded killer, unless I'm wrong. Was it a mistake? Or did you mean to do that? I think it was a mistake. I think something went wrong.
I
That's my
did
thing.
not do it.
How does the body end up on your property? The key ends up in your house, the blood ends up in your house. How does that all happen, Steve?
I said,
Just like body again.
A setup from whom? You were home all week. You told me you were home all week. You're home all week. Uh-huh.
Steve, we got your prints. We got you in that car.
How's your palm prints get on the car?
how's my conference in the car?
We got your person on that car.
Right by the door.
You know how this works. You can't beat the evidence.
Work with us a little.
If you
Think of
did
your
it-
family.
Think of your family.
I did not do it.
How is your family gonna view they think you're a cold-blooded person?
I did not
If
do
you
it.
made a mistake, they'll understand that. I understand
And
that.
people's got my fingerprints.
People make mistakes.
Who's got your fingerprints?
Everybody does.
Who?
The crime lab, the police station.
What police station?
None of what.
Manitowoc had nothing to do. That's why him and I are here, okay?
Yeah, but if there's a crooked cop,
They're gonna plant her blood in your house and put the key in there when you're home all week? How's that gonna happen? You're home
but
all
I
week.
ain't home all week.
You just told me you're basically home all week, except
Well,
for
I work up
Thursday.
at a garage.
So you're telling me somebody planted that and the body?
I didn't do it.
Who did it?
I don't know.
Steve.
I don't know.
Steve. Think of your family there for a
I am
second.
thinking of my
No,
family.
you're not. You're thinking of yourself.
No.
You're thinking of yourself.
And we don't blame you for doing that. God damn it, you got 17 years in prison for something you didn't frickin' do.
I didn't do this one.
And we understand that.
Why would I give you everything if I did it? I wouldn't be talking to you.
Who did it?
Maybe it's because you want to talk to us. Okay?
I don't want to talk to
If
you.
didn't-
I don't want nothing to do with no cops.
I don't think
But
you're
I
a
know there's
cold-blooded
people,
killer.
there's people out there that's got my shit. And the cops are the perfect ones that got it
So
all.
there's somebody that takes
The
you-
sheriff has
There's
got
somebody
everything
that
on it.
takes your bloody palm print and puts it on somewhere? How does that happen?
A bloody palm for it.
How does that happen? How does that happen? Steve, explain that to me.
All right, nothing.
Something, you made a mistake.
No, I did
Steve,
not.
You made a mistake.
I didn't do that. How can I
So you
make a
inten-
mistake?
So you intentionally killed her, is that what you're telling me?
No, I didn't. I didn't do
Then how
nothing.
did it happen? Explain to me how it happened.
I didn't do
I think
nothing.
you made a mistake.
I didn't do
I
nothing.
think something went too far.
No.
Then I'm wrong.
How can I do it? When my mom came down, my brother came down, and I'm over by my sisters.
Well,
There ain't no way.
There's
They'd see-
inconsistencies
they'd
in all
see
those.
something.
Steve, there's inconsistencies in your story. Everything you've been telling your media.
Well, how about the
You tell
other?
one story one day, you tell another story another day. You're not consistent
Yeah,
there.
but how about the other ones?
What other one?
She seen somebody be after me.
Who's seen somebody after you?
She did.
Who did she see after you?
I don't know.
She didn't see anybody after you. She wasn't seen after she was at your house. How could she?
How do I know?
How could she?
I
She
did
didn't
not.
leave your house. She didn't leave your house alive.
I didn't
Steve, you
didn't
did.
do nothing
You
to her.
did.
No.
we know she was in your house. You said she was never in your house. How does her
She was never in my
DNA
house.
get into your house?
How is she gonna be in my house?
Your own family basically has indicated that.
What, in my house? She was never in my
How does
house.
her key for her truck that's on your property get by your bed? Don't you think that's something a little difficult to happen if you didn't do it? Yes, it is. It doesn't
Well,
happen.
There was one day that I smelled smoke in my back bedroom.
Yeah,
Where would that come from?
I don't know.
And I don't smoke.
What,
And
smoke?
Jody's been.
So you think
in the-
somebody's sneaking in your house and smoking?
If they were planning something, they'd be smoking. I don't smoke.
Mm-hmm. So you think somebody snuck in your house and planted the evidence and they were smoking during it?
What else?
I don't know. Steve,
But it was
look,
only in the
Steve,
back.
you know how this stuff works. You're a smart
I
guy.
know how it works,
Okay, you're a smart guy.
but I did not do it.
You did do it.
I did not.
The fact of the matter is you did. The body was found in your property, the key for her truck was found in your house. You took the license plates off the truck and you tried to hide the truck.
We even know how you drove the truck.
We even figured out you drove the truck.
And where you
If I
hid
would
it.
have did it, I'd have crushed the son of a bitch.
You didn't get time. You planned on crushing it, but you didn't get time.
No. I did not do it.
You
You
can't
drove
crush it
across
in
the
a day.
field, you went by the dead end, you went down the dirt road by the hunting shacks, you went in that back entrance and you parked that car there. You walked up. Bloodhound followed your scent all that way.
Oh, well, based on the information we just received a couple days ago, this completely contradicts what fucking Fassbender just fucking said.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Millbilly, this is what we've been talking all along. How the brothers were questioned about the crushing of the vehicle and what the procedure was in order to crush the vehicle. And look what they did. They now presented that to Stephen and said, "Oh, you didn't have the time to crush the vehicle." Well, wait a minute. Stephen's at Crivets. His brother Earl's on the property, opened up the property on the Saturday. So Pam of God finds the RAV on Saturday in the morning. And now with this bombshell from Sawinski, it makes it completely throws a spanner into the works. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
It's just galling to me that they're just allowed to lie in the first place as much as they do. Half the words out of his mouth are lies in that they never found a lick of forensic evidence in Stephen's place, and they don't find a lick of forensic evidence allegedly until March when they plant the bullet. So it's,
Well, what was funny is if you notice, it was Fassbender who says blood in the garage. And then Wiegert corrects him.
He also says bloody palm print.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Millbilly, if I could just say, at this point, there is no DNA evidence. And furthermore, they don't have Teresa Halbach's pap smear. So they don't have a standard for Teresa Halbach. They haven't even done a DNA typing on the bones or the muscle tissue item BZ. In other words, Wiegert is bullshitting to
Well,
Stephen.
Look
Everything
Look what Pagel
is
says to the
lies.
dispatcher when he finds out
blood
that
on the key.
blood on the key, blood in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
correct.
And look at how many outs they try to give them too.
Took us to the body, took us to the place,
I never walked that.
took us to your house.
I was never.
I know you're scared, Steve. I know
I'm
you're
not
scared.
scared.
Because you didn't mean to kill her. I don't think you meant to kill
No,
her.
I did not do it.
This wasn't a planned thing.
No,
Did you plan it?
no.
Okay, I didn't think so. I didn't think you're that kind of a guy from meeting.
I
I
didn't
think
do
what
it.
happened, you come out of prison for serving time for something you didn't even do.
I did not.
And it
do
screws you up in the head, like it screws everybody up. They didn't give you any counseling. You said that before. They gave you no counseling.
I did not
The
do
body
it.
is on your property. The key is in your bedroom. You know the key is there because you put the key there. That's the only way the key gets there.
No.
Yes, Steve, yes, that's the fact.
It just bothers me. He keeps saying her body, not her bones, her body.
And they could be deer bones for all they know, right? What day does Leisenberg actually look at it? The bones.
And then
The
2 days
10th?
after this, the 10th, the day
Yeah.
after this.
So the forensic pathologist hasn't even seen them yet.
No, he hasn't, and
They
that's
could be deer
Bennett.
Bennett, that's right.
They
Dr.
don't.
Bennett.
They don't know who the
He
bones
mentions
belong to.
bones one time, and then every time he referenced them finding, it's a body 6 times.
Yeah, but Millbilly, he could have let the cat out of the bag of what they found at Cuss Road.
Exactly my point.
Yeah, that's the point. Yep,
And
exactly.
and you see, what they're trying to do is come up with a narrative of what took place. So it seems to me that they hit Stephen with the fact that we found a body, so they want a confession from him. That way they can determine which direction they go. Do they go the Cuss Road angle, or do they go with the fire pit angle? Now, at the moment, a forensic pathologist hasn't even looked at the cremains yet. They don't even know who it belongs to.
It could even be a person. It might not even be a person.
The evidence will show that, okay? That's the
The
way it is.
evidence, the cops got the evidence.
Yeah.
God,
Two
all my
independent
evidence.
investigators that have never met you, 2 people who have never met you, have nothing against you. I know nothing about you.
No, see, if somebody else plants that shit there, you ain't gonna see it.
Then why
anyway.
is your DNA there? Why is her blood in your house? How are they gonna get their blood in your house?
How is her blood in my house? It
How
can't
do
be.
How does your DNA get
I
inside
used
the
to
truck?
leave my house open all the time.
How does your DNA get inside of her truck?
My V8 ain't. That's because they got blood out of me. How much blood they got out of me? A lot of blood.
Steve.
They got a lot of blood out of me, that's sure.
Steve, come back to reality here.
I am.
No, you're not.
I did anything.
Think
Do
about
you think
that.
I wanna do any more?
No, I don't
I
think you
don't.
want to, and that's
I
what I'm
don't.
gonna say. Do you want to spend the rest of your life there because you're a cold-blooded killer? Or did you make a mistake? Did she fall in the junkyard? Maybe you went down there to look at a car. Take her down there to show her a car that you want to take a picture of. Maybe she fell and hit her head and you were scared. Maybe that's what happened. That's what I'm thinking more like. I don't think you just took her into the house and killed her. I think it was an accident. I think maybe that she hit her head and you were scared. And I would be too. I mean, you're thinking, these cops are out to get me anyway, and she hits her head, and all of a sudden, oh my God, what do I do? That might be.
Her blood ain't in my house.
That could be. If that's what happened, tell me that's what happened.
Her blood
Then I
ain't in my house.
can go with that. If that's what happened, Steve, you need to tell me that.
No,
Or
I ain't gonna
did
change
you
it.
just drag her into the house and kill her?
No.
Is that it?
no.
Then how does her body end up on your property? If it's not a mistake, that makes you a cold-blooded killer. If it's a mistake, I understand it. The judge understands, the jury understands. Everybody understands that people make mistakes. Everybody does. I do. He does. We all make mistakes. But we need to know that, because if it's not a mistake, that means it's intentional and you're cold-blooded killer. That's what I mean.
No,
But if it's a mistake,
I'm done
she
talking.
fell and hit her head, it is. It's a mistake.
No, I wanna talk to my lawyer.
Okay. Then we're done.
I did not do this.
Okay, then we're done.
Honest to God, I did not do this.
Okay.
How my stuff got in or whatever, I did not do it. So you might take me to the man now. Hold me there.
Why don't you stand up, okay? Put your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
Never again to breathe free air since that day.
But if you notice, Millbilly and everybody else on the panel, notice the classic read technique used by Wiegert. Like, how disgusting is this, right? He gave Stephen Avery 2 options. Either you're a cold-blooded killer or you accidentally killed her, as in he tried to give him an out, right? The lesser of 2 evils. And how was Stephen Avery going to say, well, you know, she went down the yard, she hit her head, and I decided to dismember her and cremate her instead of saying sorry.
They don't bring any
How
of that
stupid
up, though.
are these guys?
They don't bring any of that
It
up,
was a
though.
mistake, you know. I make mistakes. Dr. Silkman
Yeah,
makes
but
mistakes.
They
Jeff
don't
makes
mention
mistakes.
anything about him burning a body.
No.
The
They just
judge will
say
understand.
the dogs took us to where her body was.
Yeah.
The dog.
I just keep hearing that. The judge will understand.
Yeah, but the factor is
Even though.
Yeah, go Big Jeff.
Please, Tony. I was going to say, even though we don't have the Bobby Dassey interview, we know from the Farrak article that Bobby indicated that they burn the deer bones, the unused deer bones, in the burn barrels. So the police, the most they have is bone fragments, and they've just heard from somebody who lives there that they burn deer skulls in the burn pit. So they picked up some bone fragments, and maybe somebody's a butcher and they recognize some skeletal parts. But they just heard that. They have no foundation at all to understand, to even think that any of those bones that they found.
Yes, I was going to say, Big Jeff, law enforcement are permitted to lie. So they threw the kitchen sink at Stephen Avery. But it's very interesting how the tone and mood of the interrogation completely changed when Fassbender and Wiegert came back into the room. Wiegert moved closer to him, started taking up his personal space, and they hit him with everything. And notice, Fassbender even said, "We know how the RAV got into the yard through the quarry," right? So that's very interesting, especially in light
and they don't say how they
of what we know.
If they do have any clue, that clue is never revealed as to how that happens, as to how they knew that or why they suspected that.
No, and that
it could just be a lie, or they could have some evidence.
Yes, and that begs the question: when did Sawinski actually phoned in his observation?
Or when they left the room, did Sipple give Wiegert a phone call and say, "Hey, we found some bones"? Because when Sipple talks to the man at the dispatch, says, "We're going to have to expand this crime scene because we found bones." And the guy says, "Yeah, I know about some of them. Well, we found more. We're going to need a couple of buckets."
Have we cross-referenced the time on the video with that, with the time that Sipple's call comes in?
Well, when Sipple calls, the bones that they already found were already discovered. He's calling about new bones.
Right.
And it's about to get dark out, so that's why they call in the Wisconsin State Patrol to come in on the 10th. It's even mentioned in queso. And you look at.
So do we have a timestamp on Sipple's car asking for the expansion?
Yeah, it's in the afternoon. It's after Stephen Avery's.
Right at this stage, Billy, they haven't discovered the bones in the Manitowoc County gravel pit yet.
Nope.
I take it.
They're about to.
Yeah.
On the 10th and the 11th
Yes.
and the 12th.
Yep.
That's the dates that the crime seems extended to miles.
Yep, but after this interview, later that evening, they go and request for another search warrant to expand it for 5 more days. But they only use it for 3.
Right. So at this stage, they don't know whether they're human cremains and who they belong to. They don't have any DNA evidence. And furthermore, Culhane hadn't run the DNA results through CODIS yet. So we get preempted by 1 day, right? Because Culhane in her report says we searched the database on the 10th.
You know what that could only mean? They found her body on Cuss Road.
Oh, yes, because you could tell that both Wiegert and Fassbender are giving out information that they should not have given out to Stephen, right? They should have held it back because they're not 100% sure that Stephen was involved in any of this,
Because he
right?
wasn't.
Yes, but Stephen from day one was talking about planting. When he mentioned Tammy Weber and the 2 guys went out, Wiegert and Fassbender went out and came back in, the entire conversation and mood completely changed. They were accusatory. They only talked about Stephen, and they focused all the forensic evidence on Stephen. They didn't mention Chuck. They didn't mention Earl. The focus was only on Stephen. So, you know, all of a sudden, their investigation, before they really had any forensic evidence, was to highlight one person and one person only.
We also have the audio clips from AC Rookie with when Stephen's attorney is calling in and trying to get to speak with Stephen. Remember,
Yeah, it's on,
Big Jeff.
It's on my channel.
Okay,
Yeah.
Big Jeff, you want to go ahead and explain the situation that happened with that?
They say at first they tell them no, that they can't come, right? That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
But then they come back and say,
and
yeah.
The other one's on the other.
He calls to talk to dispatch because he wants to come to see Stephen Avery. The dispatcher then gives him directions on how to get there. She's not sure he's going to make it there. She then calls Jerry Pagel. First tries to call Captain Rush. Talks to Pagel, and then she gets back to Stephen Glenn, and he advises her he's on his way and he will be there. And then she goes back to Pagel and was like, well, I guess he's coming.
Well, how long was he left there to sit before his attorney was actually allowed to even?
Well, they leave the interrogation room just around 3 o'clock. Then they take him and transfer him to Jennifer Bass, which then drives him to the jail. So, well, that
1985, he was with our attorney for 7 days.
Yeah, well, that phone call comes in right around 9 o'clock, so
6 hours,
4
almost
4 or 5 hours.
So, Millbilly, do you think the reasoning behind this machine gun type of questioning was to elicit a confession then and there? Was that their hope?
I believe so.
It's the same technique they pulled on everybody.
Yes, because they essentially read out a shopping list to him, didn't they? They listed all the forensic evidence and they pointed directly to him, despite the fact that there was no DNA results. They didn't have Teresa Hallbach's pap smear, so they didn't have a DNA standard. All they did, right, was they attributed all the blood to Teresa Hallbach, right? Because they said, Wiegert said, what's her blood doing in your house, right? Without even testing it. And in the end, what happened? The blood was actually Stephen's. There was nothing nefarious at all. So they completely misfired, right? And it's disgusting, disgusting that this poor guy was hit with all this bullshit, with no proof, right? And you know what? Wiegert and Fassbender were permitted to have done exactly what they did to Stephen. It's in the law. It is in the law. And
it's encouraged.
Yes, it's all part of the Reed technique.
The only quibble I would have with what you said, Tony, is that for me to believe that they were trying to elicit a confession from Stephen would mean that Wiegert wasn't in on any planting that went on, and I'm not quite ready to believe that because planting.
Yeah,
I suppose
not
scenario. I just think he's guilty.
Yeah, yes. I think Mark Wiegert had foreknowledge of something, but you see, what better way to have success of a planting scenario for Stephen to say, "Hey, you got me, guys, you got me good and proper." Yet, to Stephen's credit, he withheld and he remained steadfast. No matter what they threw at him, he didn't show a shocked saying, "Oh my God, they found."
Uh-oh.
Up, he froze. Whoa.
Well, he's right. I mean, we know what he was going to say is that to Stephen's credit, he remained steadfast, obviously because he didn't do it.
I think he's
But,
like probably living in fear. He would have seen this coming. He's like in the back of his head. He's like, I know where this is going, and that's frightening.
yeah,
Yeah,
That
and
is
he even said in the interview, I don't want anything to do with any cops.
right.
Right.
I think Wiegert's act was sort of, at least 75% show there, because he had to be aware. This is minimally one of those situations where, some evidence was, as Zellner says, some evidence was planted by the killer, some evidence was planted by the cops, and he had to have known. And the cops, this is one of those situations probably where the cops think they know, or they have to know, because he had to go away. With the depositions on the horizon for the 1985. Oh, but there he is.
Welcome back. Up your sound.
But,
Unmute yourself there, Doctor.
Oh, yes, I got booted out. It must have been Ken Kratz.
Right.
That's right. You were in a very unfortunate position too when you got booted. You were.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Did you want to finish your thought? We tried to finish it for you, which you were saying, Stephen, how Stephen was holding steadfast.
Yes, I was going to say that credit to Stephen, because most people would have just broken down into pieces, been thrown with all that information. You compare him and Paul Brendan. In the end, Brendan just got mentally fatigued and just said yeah to everything. He had no idea what he was getting himself into. But Stephen, having been in prison before, having been through the process before, having understood what it was like to be set up, right? And he said the most important thing, and that's why I was convinced of Stephen's innocence. He said, I've done 18 years. Do you think I want to do any more?
Right.
Right.
Right. And those two idiots said to him, oh yeah, but going to prison changes a man. Well, fuck me. They're the ones that, I'm sorry for swearing, Millbilly, but they're the ones that put him there. Right? They're the ones that put him there, and they showed no due care to look after him when he came out of prison. They opened up the gates and he walked straight out. Right? And then they try and blame him. They say, we understand if you accidentally killed Teresa Halbach.
Yeah, right.
It's as stupid as it gets.
Absolutely. Look who it is.
Oh,
Hey.
LeBron.
Truth matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I changed my name.
All right.
I'm no longer sleuthing, I'm mattering.
Oh, sounds good to me.
I actually thought I had my photo on that profile, but I don't. Sorry. I just wanted to respond to what Jeff said about did Wiegert have knowledge? Because one thing that I feel really strongly about in this case is that it's a bit like if you imagine, sorry about the analogy, because it might be a bit triggering given the discussion, but if you imagine a body and each part of the body is actually acting separately. So the hand does one job, the head does one job, the foot does one job, the knee does one job, etc. But they don't actually know what each other does. So Wiegert might have been responsible for one thing, but he might not know what the foot did. So, and I think that's the way that successful operations happen. Because then if one person decides to squeal, they can't actually reveal the entire operation.
Yes, very
It's called plausible denial, right?
Plausible deniability, correct.
Yeah, well, they just don't know enough.
Correct. So, Bron, just to back up with what you just said, right? If a body part or body parts were found at Cuss Road, that means that only part of Teresa Halbach was present there. The rest of her was in the Manitowoc County gravel pit, in the burn pit, and also in Yonder burn barrel number 2. So it begs the question, exactly what did they find at Cuss Road, if anything? So what you said is very, very interesting.
Can I talk about what we were talking about on the call last night, guys, about cadaver dogs and what they hit on?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, please do.
So the cadaver dogs were brought in straight away, and that doesn't make sense at all. So they were brought in on the first 3 days, and then the search dogs were brought in from the 7th. Sorry, the cadaver dogs were brought in like right through, but basically the search dogs were held off until the 7th. Meaning the scent dogs. I really need to wake up properly before I get on a call. Cadaver dogs alert on the scent of decomposition. So, but they don't alert on Teresa or on Jeff or on Silkman. So bringing the cadaver dogs in on the first day, they've alerted on a lot of decomposition, but it's possible that they've alerted on anyone.
Correct. They're non-specific.
Yes. And so, because to be honest, there had to be a strategy for why they brought cadaver dogs in, because on the 5th, they called Great Lakes Search and Rescue, and Great Lakes Search and Rescue came with, I'll tell you how many dogs they even had on site, something like 12 dogs at the checkpoint, and they allowed 2 dogs through, and they were both cadaver dogs. They actually requested cadaver dogs. Dogs
And as you were stating earlier, Kat,
I got the report right here, Bron.
Bron, as you were stating earlier, they had the officer on there that they brought back in who was very familiar with the differentiation, that the dogs couldn't differentiate between victims and that they couldn't, that it basically somebody that knew it should have been a scent dog versus a cadaver dog.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Great Lakes Search and Rescue narrative report from November 5th that you made.
I'm just having a quick look at my report here, the summary one.
So they had bushmen who knew exactly which dog should have been there, and they did the opposite.
I just need to look at it in this one. Okay, so on the first day, they were there at 1:15, and they had 7 handlers and 9 dogs. They had 4 cadaver dogs, 2 live fine dogs, which means scent dogs, and 3 of them were trained in both.
Yeah, but no scent articles.
Yeah, but 3 were trained to do both.
Yeah, but what did they use for scent?
Yeah, hang on, but that is what they had. So they could choose on that day. It's really important to know that on that day they could choose between 4 cadaver dogs, 2 search dogs, and 3 dogs that were trained in cadaver and search. That's what they had to choose between at the checkpoint at 1:14 p.m. At 3:30, they let through 1 cadaver dog team, and Canine Brutus and Julie Kramer with Bob Kramer went through. And so Brutus started checking things. And then a bit later, probably about an hour later, they let through 4 more, and they were all acting in a cadaver dog capacity. And it was Lucy, Trace, Reesering, and Cody. And they alerted basically throughout the car area. And Stephen's bathroom laundry area, the barrels, the maintenance building, the golf cart behind the parents, and then they left. And the weather was absolutely dreadful, and that was the first day. But to me, there has to be a reason why they chose cadaver dogs. And I wonder whether it was because they can't differentiate.
So they didn't care whose body they found as long as they found one.
Correct.
A hit is a hit.
And don't we have
Correct.
a previous,
Because
we have a previous, at least one previous death at the quarry.
That we know of, yes.
Yes.
Deborah Sakawati.
Yeah, but these hits on the first day are the car. Well, it was near the car. It was the gravel pit. Then it was the conveyor. Then it was Stephen's bathroom. Then it was 2 of the barrels, which were animation and excitement. It wasn't actually an alert. Oh, yes, sorry, it was an alert. There was an alert with extreme animation and excitement at 2 of the burn barrels. 2 of the 4 burn barrels that were there. On car parts in the maintenance building, which would not be at all surprising, not at all, because they're dealing with car accidents.
Yeah.
And on a golf cart parked in the small garage behind the main residence.
Which would have been Mom Avery's.
Yep, and that's the first day. The second day was 2 vehicles near the pond. The entrance to Chuck Avery's by 1 dog. Then
and these don't have to be the full bodies. They can be the cremains.
It can be cremains, blood. It can be cremains, blood, bones, saliva, anything that from a dead. But the person has to have been dead once they release those fluids. Saliva won't last long, so it's not a good one. But any bodily biologicals. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Bones are biological. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Decomposition.
So as soon as a person dies, when the heart stops, it's part of the heart pumping keeps. Basically, the arteries are oxygenated blood and the veins are deoxygenated blood coming back to the heart. Once the heart stops pumping, the entire body becomes full of no oxygen blood, and that releases a whole lot of chemicals into the bloodstream and into the body instantly. And it seems to be those chemicals that the dogs are picking up. So it's an almost instant process that happens physiologically within the body.
Dr. Sullivan, I actually have a question for you.
Me?
Yeah. Going back and watching KZ's interview with Naders, she stated that she felt that the bones were burned in the Dassey burn barrel. My question would be, would there be less of a bodily odor, say, if the body had already been gutted, such as the deer that was in the Dassey garage? Would there have been less of a smell of the flesh and everything if it had been stripped down like that?
Well, it just in 2 parts, right? If you have a look at the burn pit itself, there was no evidence of the black ooze, is what you normally get when you burn a body. And no one mentions a black ooze in the burn barrel either. So if the body was actually cut up into small pieces, which the evidence tends to suggest that she was dismembered. We do not know what got burnt with what. For example, whether there were human cremains mixed with animal cremains. And if you're trying to hide the odor, that's exactly what you'd want to do, right?
Oh, okay.
You mix the flesh, human flesh, animal flesh. Now, I've never smelt human flesh being burnt, but apparently it has a very, very distinct odor. No one on the Dassey compound or the Avery compound smelt anything unusual, right? Which tends to suggest that if she was cremated, it was off site. In other words,
Correct.
not on the property, because there was nothing distinct smell. It has a very characteristic odor. What is of deep concern is why there's a subset of cremains in Yunda burn barrel number 2, right? There's only a small set. And Ken Kratz said, Stephen Avery picked up the largest bones and transported them to his sister's burn barrel, which is rather bizarre, right? So
we only have cuts in certain places, though, correct?
We do. That is correct. That's correct.
And the more I think about it, the more it's
Well,
But
that
Ron,
actually makes it doable. Oh,
That's
Yeah,
what
I don't want to talk about it on a YouTube video. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
not comfortable talking about it
No,
because I think it'll be too
problems at all.
triggering for people. I can talk about it with you privately, but yeah.
So it seems like only one person smelt something, and that was Travis working the night shift at Redance.
Yes, correct, but not
Travis
actually
Kroll.
on,
Yep.
but not actually on the property, not on the property itself,
No.
right?
No.
So that tends to suggest that if anything, any type of cremation event took place, it wasn't on the Avery property.
If it was if it was the body in its entirety, it was not done on site. I think that's we've just got to accept that because it's just not feasible.
No, it's
honestly,
not.
it's just not feasible. In the time frame that it occurred, it's not feasible.
So how did the
Correct.
bones get there? Right.
What about the swapping of some barrels?
I could guess, but honestly, there's no point in guessing from my perspective. There's no point in guessing. There are lots of ways that things can be burned. Like, I said I wasn't going to discuss this. The things the parts of the body that smell are hair and flesh. It's not muscle, it's not bones. And that's as much as I'll tell you. The body was dismembered. If it's Teresa's body, it was dismembered, and I'll leave the rest to your imagination.
Yeah, it's very gruesome. It's very gruesome.
So if the body is Teresa's, then it's possible that part of the body was burned there without releasing any smell.
Thanks for that clarification, guys.
No worries.
Sorry.
I mean, we know
No,
that.
I really do. I mean, with Kathleen saying that in her interview, I wanted the clarification.
We know that.
I could clarify further and say that they're used to skinning deer, and if you think about what that process is, then yes. However,
we don't.
Having said that, I do not believe that a 19-year-old boy is capable of that.
Not on his own, anyway.
No, and I don't believe that Bobby has the profile. And having worked with murderers and people that dismember and people that eat other people and all of that sort of thing, I would say that I've got a reasonable idea about criminal profiles, and I'd say that he doesn't sort of fit the profile. Just as a general.
I know this is. I was going to say, I know this is a little bit off topic, But you know what this actually mimics? Who this actually mimics? Ed Gein, who was also from Wisconsin.
Yeah, Plainfield,
And
Wisconsin.
it's
That's from 1950s.
yeah, very very early
Yeah.
on.
Exactly.
It's Ed Gein like.
Yes, it is. And you'd have to be of a certain age to know about that, really.
Yeah, you do.
I'm much,
And probably
much,
had
much, much too
experience.
I go
young.
hunting in the same town that happened in, Plainfield, Wisconsin.
Right, yeah.
Very, very small town.
But you'd have to have experience. It's not like something you just jump up one day and do either.
No.
People with profiles
Yeah,
like
it's
that,
not-
that's a leader.
I don't know how many people would have the cognizance, because and that's brilliant because it's actually the first time that I've heard it, and I wonder how many people would actually have the cognizance to do that to avoid the smell. That's a big step.
Ed Gein was digging up freshly buried bodies, taking them home and skinning them.
Yeah,
Correct.
that was his first step.
Yeah.
The
first he
because
killed the bar
because he
owner,
wanted to.
and then he killed Bernice Warden, and he probably killed his brother too.
Yes,
because they were working. They were working in the field, burning brush. He said his brother got lost in the fire. He went to go get help, but he was able to bring him right to where his body was.
I mean,
yes.
You've also got Dharma that did similar things. So, there's certainly history around the area of, ideas of ways you can, deal with bodies.
Also, too, when hair is burnt and human flesh, the smell of that sticks to your nostril hairs and can last for days.
I've heard people account this people went missing and they end up being burned completely. And the neighbors who lived next door to the property said it smelled like they were barbecuing a pig.
Yes, there's a story of a nanny that was killed and they burned her body. You can look it up on the internet. And the neighbours ended up calling the police because of the size of the fire. But it wasn't the smell, it was the size of the fire that they called the police for, which I found really interesting. It was 10 foot high, by the way.
I just find it funny that they
just kidding.
They bring in Cadaver and scent dogs, but they don't have no scent to track Teresa with.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So they didn't use them in the scent capacity.
Not until
but
2
they
days
could
later.
have. They could have. And
well, that would have been the most appropriate for a missing person, don't you think? I mean, if
of
it was
course it is. And
yeah,
you know what? I have to ask, what the... Oh, sorry. Look, no, I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. Having worked on so many missing persons cases since because I've basically taken about a year off the Avery case now, and I've worked on heaps of missing persons cases in that time and won in a massive way. Where the fuck were the Hallbacks? Why were they not giving scent articles and saying, here is, here are her shoes, here is this, where were they? And maybe they were told to stay by the phone, but my callback was, quite close by. Why wasn't he told to go home and get something of Teresa's and bring it back?
Mark,
they're
on the third. Why didn't he pick something up?
It's that is one of the early things you do in a missing persons case. It's just so they did not treat this as a missing persons case right from the start, but the Hallbacks did not, for whatever reason, they didn't pick up that it wasn't being treated like it.
No,
that's right. And there was an over-reliance on Ryan Hilligus and Scott Blowdorn as
and
well.
an over-reliance on the goodness of law enforcement, I think.
Yes, the Hallbugs simply
And another
trusted
thing,
and handed everything over.
Well, and remember, the Hallbucks are related to Pago.
That's right.
They
Oh,
are
and
related
so
to Pago.
true. And to be honest, you tend to trust, I mean, well, okay, there's a tendency to trust people in authority until they lose your trust. And then there's a tendency to trust your kin, your family, until they lose your trust. So it actually makes sense, doesn't it? If you've got both.
Yep.
But why
But
the heck haven't law enforcement lost their trust now? Geez, well, I hope they have.
Yep. But Bron, if I could just make the very quick point about the dogs, how powerful do you think that a statement would have been delivered to the news media to say, oh, we had a cadaver dog and he hit at the back of the RAV, right? So once that information comes out, think about it. You've
But
got
they
the RAV.
didn't, did they?
they only used Julie Kramer in the trial. They didn't use Bosk.
No, but that information, oh, okay, that only came out in the trial, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. And Fassbender says
Yep.
that Brutus made no hits at all in the trailer, but when they talk to the dog handler, she tells a completely different story. Just like, who lied and said that Remaker was present when they went back in the trailer when he wasn't? They even discussed that in Remaker's pre-trial cross-examination. Somebody signed his name as in going into the entry into Steven's trailer, and he wasn't present.
What did you just say about Brutus's handler?
Julie Kramer testified in trial.
You said something about going back into the trailer or something?
Yes, they're talking to Fassbender in trial.
Pre-trial.
And they ask him if the cadaver dogs had hit in Steven's trailer, and he says he believes that no indications were made. When they're talking to the dog handler, she tells a different story. Yes, he did hit in the bathroom.
Yeah,
but
right.
That's Steven's blood, not anybody else's.
That's correct. But again, it's really impression.
Well,
that's exactly what we get hit, Stephen, with the impression of the blood. Instead of saying, because Wiggett didn't know, Wiggett didn't say, oh, what's your blood doing there? He specifically said, what's Teresa's blood doing in your property, right?
Yeah.
And if I could just say,
and he probably realized his error. Like, he's probably trying to cover up his error, I expect, because he'd said that to Stephen and he knew that he'd done that. That's probably why he said no, there were no hits, because he knew that that was not Teresa's blood. So that's probably why he said no. He was actually overcompensating. Because what he was being asked is, did the dogs alert to anything? But what he thought he was being asked is, did they alert to Teresa's blood?
He told them the dogs took him to everything. The dogs took us to where her body was.
No, I mean in the trial. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Interview that we just listened to.
Yep. Okay. So then in trial, you said that he said the dogs did not alert.
Fassbender
Stephen's
stated that, yes.
Sorry, Fassbender did. And he was probably covering for that interview. Am I making sense or not?
Mm-hmm. It's just like when they're taking Brutus from the crusher to the car. They make it seem like the dog went there by itself. Talk to the dog handlers. No, they instructed us to go over there.
Yeah, they did. Yep. Yeah, CASO reads very, very differently to the dog handler report.
Not just the dog handler report, lots of reports. They tell you they tell you to reference interview that took place, the original report, and guess what? We can't even see that. There's so many DCI reports that are still sealed. along with interviews, jail phone calls. Like Jerry Beardy said
Yeah,
himself
well,
to me, if they're
well,
so confident on their conviction, why are they still sealing things? What are they
that's
trying
correct,
to hide?
because it gives a different narrative, Billy. It doesn't
100%.
give the narrative.
The audio
It doesn't give the
did give
narrative
us
that the
for
state put.
just the audio for November 7th alone completes a different picture what they write in the reports. They don't even mention Cuss
Yes.
Road in the Manitowoc Summary Report. They're on White Cedar.
Correct.
And Colborne and Link and Tyson are the ones that dig up the burial site after Bushman did whatever he did, because you hear him requesting a shovel.
That's right.
And crime tape. And you hear them say that there's already a Manitowoc officer at the end of Cuss Road, but he doesn't know who's sitting in it. Well, I do. His name was Dennis Jacobs.
Oh, Dennis.
That's why his name's crossed off the sign-in, sign-out sheets that they had when they blocked off Cuss Road. But
I see, sorry, I'm just reading back a little bit in the comments, and I can see there's a comment here from someone just saying that her ex was a firefighter and came home after a body burned, and he was literally trying to ram a bar of soap up his nose. That's how intense the smell was, which is very helpful to hear that it was right. I actually just wanted to comment while we had a couple of, quite a few people listening, that I read something on a forum recently that really made me kind of perk up. Someone said, oh yeah, I taped the entire court case while it was being filmed,
but she can't
so
find
that I could
goddamn tapes.
Yeah, hang on. I taped it, and I went looking for it the other day, and now I can't find it. Now, my thought was, after that, I wonder if maybe we should post around some of the Facebook groups and different groups. Does anyone have the original trial videotaped?
Well, if they do, I can easily convert them to digital copy. No problem.
Exactly. Because some people, for example, I've got all of the news footage of a particular incident that happened in Australia. Now, I would never think to give that to someone, but I easily could.
Mm-hmm.
But if I saw a request for it, I'd hand it over straight away.
Yes, T1. Stephen Avery had the contents of the Dassey computer sealed. It's in one of the KZ's motions, and it was granted.
Can you repeat that, please?
T1 asked if KZ can have files sealed. Yes, and she has. Stephen Avery asked for the contents of Bobby Dassey's computer be sealed. As in
so that
images and some of the send messages and stuff like that, so that it can't be tampered with.
And that means that no one can get them, request them.
Nope, it's can't be FOIA'd.
Yep. What about it has to be shared with the prosecution though, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't see why they're hiding jail calls. They'll release so many of them, but they won't release several of them. I don't understand that.
Why the ones before Teresa's even murdered? Why before the 31st? That is extremely fishy. Sorry.
I'm telling you, it's because in one of those, and I'm almost positive because if I could just remember where I heard it, the conversation between Jody and Stephen, and Jody is told by Stephen that he has rearranged the room, and she's pissed off because he wouldn't let her have that way when she first moved in. And it was before, I'm almost positive it was, I think it was the 29th that I found somewhere, and Stephen had already rearranged the room, which makes Brendan's story of how the room was wrong.
Completely wrong. Completely wrong.
And he also talks about the rug cleaner. He's going to take it back. He's been cleaning the van out with the rug cleaner, and he's looking for the receipt because he's going to take it back.
Because it's not working right or something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Shaw?
Isn't that in Jody's phone calls?
Yes, it's in a Jody phone call, but it's kind of disappeared.
Oh.
I only have the 15 that were released originally before we got the big lot of all the other ones. And 2 of those are after he's been arrested. The other 13 are between the 8th and the 27th, and we don't have all the calls in between those days.
And it's not in that one?
I have a printout of his phone records that confirm that we do not have the phone calls to his landline.
The rug doctor one has been used to discuss him cleaning up evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be that you've heard it in that context. It might be worth just maybe even typing into Reddit, rug doctor cleaning up evidence or something like that.
I can give you all the audio. You can go through it. Like I've done 1,000 fucking times.
Well, I've gone through all of the Jody and Steven calls. That's where it was at, and it's disappeared. That call has disappeared.
There's over 1,000 of them, so you have to go through them all.
Yeah.
And find out. Have fun.
You're so kind.
I'm not doing it again.
He likes to share everything he's got, so he's sharing it with you.
Does.
There you go. He's
pain.
very generous.
Share the pain.
Yep. Well, thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Moonbilly.
Thanks, everybody.